Hello everyone. I was having some back and forth when it came to creating this video because I wasn't really sure where to begin, but let's do this anyway. Okay, so I'll start with an introduction first. Hi, I'm Ariana. Nice to meet you. I'm, at the time of making this video, 24 years old. I graduated from university about 2 years ago. As soon as I was done with uni, I went straight into work, and I even got married a few months after that, which is a bit crazy, but that's another story for another day. My life has been pretty much the same ever since. I've been in a constant routine of just working, whether that's in the office or doing chores at home. And, for the longest time, I've been feeling a little bit directionless. I don't know what to call it, but what I mean is I don't really know where to go from here, if I'm perfectly honest. I don't know what I'm doing in my life, and if you clicked on this video, it's possible you may be feeling a similar way. You know how it is, this whole societal expectations of you must have a degree, have a job, have bought a house, be married, and ideally have kids by a certain age, whatever that age is in your culture. I hated this constant pressure and this constant expectation, and feeling like I was constantly running against time with a massive imaginary clock staring at me in the face everywhere I went. While I understood for some people there may really be a time limit to achieve certain things they want in life, it's certainly not the case for everyone all the time. And it's okay for people to have a late start in life. It's completely normal for someone to change their career paths, to give up on certain hobbies for new ones, or achieve their goals much later in life. It's completely normal for people to grow with time and, gain new wisdom that changes their views and outlook in life. It's just a shame that society doesn't always view people like that so kindly. But then again, society doesn't view many people kindly anyway, so I guess if you really think about it, it doesn't really matter that much. I felt like my brain was getting pushed into 1,000 different directions because I was pushing myself to achieve certain things in a certain amount of time without giving myself any time to actually think about whether those decisions were right for me. And mentally, I was going through a lot of hidden struggles that nobody could really understand, not even the people closest to me. So on the outside, it seemed like I had everything figured out because I was slowly ticking off those checklist of expectations, and logically speaking, I should be feeling very happy and fulfilled with my life because of that, right? What could I possibly be missing if I have everything I want, or at least everything I should want? But while I'm extremely grateful for everything I have, I mean this in the sincerest way I possibly can. I'm really grateful for all of the blessings and the privileges I have. Despite all of that, I still felt like I didn't know where I was going or where I wanted to go. I just couldn't envision a finish line from where I was standing, and all that uncertainty and the almost limitless number of possibilities meant that I wasn't really all that happy, but I was just trying to figure out how to be happy. And I wanted the freedom to not constantly be pushed into a specific path, even if it was the right path. I wanted the freedom to make mistakes. I mean, there's so many things in life that you don't really fully appreciate unless you really think about it. But I realized as I grew older that having regrets is not always a bad thing, because sometimes it's more peaceful to the mind to fail at something and quit with closure than regretting not trying at all. So it was becoming more and more clear to me that what I really needed was to just slow down a little bit and really reflect on myself, figure out what I want and not what is wanted from me. I needed to figure out who I am as a person right now, who I eventually wanted to become, and finally think about how to actually get there. But I should probably add a bit of context before I go any further, or none of this will make a lot of sense. So I come from a South Asian Muslim family who are very cultural, and like many others who come from a similar background to me, I kept being pushed to pursue medicine from a very young age. Honestly, this is such a common story plot. It does not get more cliche than this. I grew up trying my hardest to make my parents happy, which mainly involved working really hard at school and making sure I could get the best possible grades I could get. And it kind of got to the point where my whole self-worth was fully dependent on my grades and my ability to get into the best university, get into the best degree, eventually the best job. Who decided the criteria for the best university or the best job? I have no idea, but for one reason or another, it was all decided for me, and that was what I had to do. Things didn't turn out for the best because eventually I came to the conclusion that I, in fact, did not want to pursue medicine. And after going past that disappointing stage in life, I ended up studying microbiology instead because it seemed like some kind of compromise at the time with my parents. And before the story gets any more depressing, I must tell you, I actually loved my degree. I loved going to university. I know it wasn't something I thought I would end up doing, but I found it very interesting and I genuinely really enjoyed it. Once I finished my undergraduate degree, I went on to do my master's degree, and I was even considering doing a PhD. So I really saw my future in this. I applied to a bunch of PhDs that I liked, and I got around to the second stage of interviews, but essentially got rejected by all of them. But even then, I wasn't disheartened by it because being able to get to that stage in itself was really difficult. And the plan was to get a job temporarily, build up my experience, and reapply for a PhD later down the line. After I got married, that plan kind of fell through a little bit. I realized I had a very romanticized, unrealistic idea of what being a researcher looks like, and I felt like I was pursuing something I knew very little about. It felt like I was pursuing an idealized version of something, and it made me question whether I actually wanted to do it, So the more I thought about the kind of job I wanted to do long term, the more I was feeling lost. And I was tired of feeling lost. So I came up with a solution to this problem, which is simultaneously the most stupid and the most genius solution I ever came up with. I woke up one day and thought, let me start a YouTube channel. That will solve all my problems. I mean, okay, it won't, but let me explain. So the purpose of creating this video is to get some kind of control over my life and to force myself into accountability. I backtracked my life and really thought about my skills and the kind of things I enjoyed doing. If I could do absolutely anything in the world with no expectations from anyone else, and if money was not a problem, I mean, it most certainly is, but theoretically speaking, for the purpose of this exercise, if money was not a problem, what would I want to do instead? And I'm someone who is interested in a lot of things, and I have a lot of different hobbies, so the honest answer is I don't see myself doing one particular thing. If I had the choice and the ability, I will most likely be doing a number of different things, but I just don't know how practical that is going to be, at least right now in my life. And I'm not particularly an ambitious person either, so no matter how hard I try, I don't see myself dedicating my whole life doing one particular thing and excelling at it beyond imagination. I mean, I'm not that special. So I decided that in order to come out of this cycle of constant uncertainty and constantly feeling lost, I just need to make one decision at a time. I need to just create a goal, or in this case, a multiple set of goals, give myself a timeline and focus on that no matter what. And the decision I decided to make was that I wanted to get back into art. When I looked back into my life, I realized one thing I kind of left in the past and I completely brushed aside was anything to do with my creativity and my love for art, essentially. I used to draw all the time, but the older I got, I kind of just stopped because I conditioned myself into believing that it's just a useless hobby. So I decided that I don't want to neglect that side of me anymore. And I don't have to dedicate my whole life doing this, but I just want to get a part of me back that I have suppressed for a long time when there was no need to. So If you're interested in following my journey, the premise is this. I am giving myself 1 year, 365 days. That is a long time. I'm giving myself this set amount of time to get back into drawing, to practice different art mediums and essentially launch an art career. I'm going to try a mixture of different traditional art mediums, including watercolor, acrylics, oil painting, colored pencils, etc., etc., and even digital art, which is something I'm not used to at all. So that will be interesting. I really just want to experiment and learn as much as I can. I want to understand the different, the kind of art I enjoy making and the art mediums I enjoy working with the most. And I think 1 year is a good amount of time to get an idea of what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy. But I want to really explore these different art mediums first and just have fun with it, really. Eventually, when I do feel comfortable in my art, I am going to try to create an art portfolio, probably in the form of a website. I have no idea how to begin creating a website, by the way, so that in itself is going to be a challenge and it will take me some time to figure out how to do it. I am going to try to grow an online presence in different platforms to showcase my art, and this is coming from someone who has very minimal online presence. I mean, the only people who follow me on social media are my friends and family, and even they don't know I'm starting a YouTube channel yet. So there's that. I know basically nothing about, growing social media following or anything like that, but it will definitely be a challenge, but it will be quite interesting to learn about it. I want to eventually get monetized on YouTube, and this comes under social media presence as well, but I want to use it more so to force myself to create art consistently and also share my experiences in the process, so it's a two-way relationship. It should be benefiting both of us. And growing a YouTube channel, it can take years upon years, so that in itself is very ambitious. But the whole point of creating these goals is more to do with having something to work towards and not necessarily give myself a realistic time frame. I know that I might not see a lot of progress, but I know I will see some progress if I'm consistent for at least a year. And it will be interesting to see how much progress that actually looks like. I also want to start some kind of art business in the future so that I can turn it into some kind of income potentially. At the moment, I'm not thinking of going into this full time. I haven't, quit my job or anything. I don't have the financial luxury to do that. I just want to make a start and see where it goes. It's a big dream for sure, and I have no idea how I'm going to do this, if I'm perfectly honest. At least not yet, but this is just a vague goal for now, and I will figure out the logistics later. But the main thing I'm going to be focusing on is starting with the basics. I'm going to start from the very beginning and actually learn how to draw. And this is something I will hold myself accountable for more so than any other goal I have set myself. I drew all the time when I was at school, so I know I have some basic drawing skills here and there, but what I mean is I want to perfect my drawing skills as much as possible and just begin with the basics and learn everything from scratch. I'm sure I'm making mistakes that need unlearning, and there must be things that I have missed or overlooked, so this is the most important goal I have set for myself. This will involve practicing consistently as often as I can, and my life is very busy, so I know I can't promise myself to draw every single day, and I know for certain that I will not be able to post every single day, but I want to set myself a goal of practicing, let's say, twice a week, just to give myself a quantifiable number. And the final goal I have is to create a little bit more of an organized working space. It doesn't sound like a big thing, but because of my living situation at the moment, there's not a whole lot of space for me to draw or have a lot of space for art equipment, but I think it'll be really fun to have my own art studio in the future. Obviously, I shouldn't even be thinking about an art studio unless I have, successfully managed to, start making money off of art, so definitely should not be thinking about this at the beginning stage of things, but I just wanted to put this out there for my own joy and happiness, even if it's delusionally unrealistic. It just makes me so
happy and dreamy to think about it. I don't know, don't you ever just picture your dream life and end up creating fake scenarios which are just fun to think about, even though you know it's not real, but you do it anyway because, well, life is boring and almost depressing. This is just one of the things. Like, okay, if I could have my dream home, it would have an art studio, a gigantic library, and a garden where you could grow strawberries and mangoes. I don't even think strawberries and mangoes grow in the same climate, but that's what I want. I want strawberries and mangoes. Also, it should ideally be somewhere in the forest, like the cottage from Snow White. You know where the 7 dwarfs live? That's where I want to live. And it should also come with a pet talking donkey, like in Shrek. And maybe it could also be walking distance from a library and a food market that serve noodles 24/7, and bakeries too. Ideally, Portuguese egg tarts. Yes, that's my dream. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this video because I don't really know what I'm talking about anymore. But anyway, back to reality. In terms of my art space, what I can do, which is more realistic, is to just make my art space more organized and just, you know, making do with what I have. And yeah, that will be the plan. So to summarize all these steps, the first step is to actually get good at art through consistent practice. Second step is to explore different art mediums and different techniques, again focusing on practicing my art skills. Third step is to work on my YouTube channel and create artistic content. Fourth step is also revolves around creating content, and you'll be through social media, so I'm going to use YouTube and social media interchangeably almost. Fifth step is to create a portfolio online, and the sixth step is to use my art skills to find different ways of making this into a source of income. So, and an extra 7th goal is just to create my own little art space and having it all cute and organized. I'm not expecting anything. I don't have big hopes. I mean, I say this with a very ambitious list. I don't even think these goals are generally achieved in a 1-year timeline. But anyway, these are not easy goals by any means. But anyway, like I said, it's just so that I have something to work towards, and I can check my progress at the end of the year to reflect on my experience. I mean, after all this time, I could decide I'd never want to create art in this capacity ever again. But the point is, I have to try or I will never know. So 1 year from now, 2 things can happen. Either I will have achieved all of my goals successfully, which is the super ambitious, super delusional outcome, or I will have successfully failed at everything I set my mind to do. I'm prepared for either one of these outcomes because regardless of what happens, I'm going to share my experience every step of the way, and I want to come out at the end of this knowing that I tried and that I made an attempt at doing something I like. I'm going to share my setbacks, my failures, my successes, and update you on where I am with my goals. And I hope that if you do decide to join me for the ride, you are able to learn from my experience, learn from my mistakes, because I can guarantee you I'll be making those. And I hope that I'm able to inspire you to do something that you enjoy. And yeah, that's everything. Thank you for listening to my nonsense, and stay tuned for future videos. Bye.